Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/Entitled People. In today's episode, don't think you really want my candy, kid, but whatever. Yelp is the worst thing to ever happen to customer service people. Entitled customer demanded to waive the copay of their prescription. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. Don't think you really want my candy, kid, but whatever. Since there's only a week left of summer, I decided to take the kids to the local amusement/water park today. As I've gotten older, the rides have gotten a little tougher on me. In addition, my daughter tends to get motion sick rather easily. I don't like the way motion sickness pills make me feel. So, I always take a Ziploc baggie full of ginger candy along to prevent and soothe the nausea. Today, I had chewy mango ginger candies, hard plain ginger candies, and hard lemon ginger candies. For those who've never had ginger candy, it is spicy. The lemon ginger is probably the mildest. The plain ginger is just plain hot. The mango ginger are sweet and spicy, but they also stick to your teeth like crazy. They're definitely an acquired taste. As we are standing in line for the log ride, I pull out my baggie. I choose a lemon one, as does my son, 13. My daughter, 12, asks for a mango one. While I'm fishing a mango one out, I hear the kid in front of us tell his mom that he, around 7-ish, wants some candy. His mom distractedly says she doesn't have any candy. The boy says, but she does. He turns to me and asks for one. I tell him I don't really think he'd like my candy. By this time, his mom has focused in on the interaction. As the kid starts to whine that, of course, he'd like my candy, his mom just huffs and says, "You've got a whole baggie. Can't you give him just one? Come on, don't be greedy." "Oh, you said the magic word there, lady." I say, "Alright," and dig out a lemon one. I'm not completely heartless. That's when the kid whines that he wants mango. Mango is his favorite. I tell him lemon is better, but he insists on mango. I tell him it's kinda sticky as I hang it over. The kid rips it open, shoves it in his mouth, gets in 3 quick chews while my kids stare at him. Then, he actually starts to taste it and a look of horror comes over his face. He screams and tries to spit it out. He's jumping around and flapping his arms. His mom is panicking and asking what's wrong. He's screaming that it's bad and it's hot and he wants it out. His mom tells him to spit it out. That's when I pipe up with the very helpful, "It's really sticky." What's left is probably stuck in his teeth. He'll have to wait for it to melt off if he doesn't want to chew. The mom looks at me in disbelief and a shrug. Then she asks what in the hell I gave her son. Probably should have asked that sooner, lady. I answer, "Ginger candy. It's good for nausea." I'm pretty sure I'd be dead if looks really could kill. We got to move up in line 2 spaces, though, because she whisked her kid off to a water fountain. I'd like to think the kid will think twice about demanding things from strangers. Plus, it was entertaining. Overall, the kids and I counted it as a win. Nice. This one's going up there with my faves next to the kid who took a Pepsi bottle from a guy who was using it as a tobacco spittoon and tried to slug it, lol. My grandpa used to use pop cans when his favorite spittoon old Rolaids bottles weren't available. It was gross. Amazing. We've officially gone from "don't take candy from strangers" to "as a stranger, I demand you feed my child something that looks like candy from that baggie in your pocket." Right? When she asked what's in it, I would have had to physically stop myself from saying, "Well, I can't be sure. I'll be able to tell when it kicks in. If he keels over, it's one of the opiate ones. If you can't make him sit still, it's probably one of the uppers." I got some new ones last week, though, to try out for Halloween, so if he starts complaining about the colors peeling off everything, it's probably one of those. Oh, and you owe me $40 because that shit's not cheap, you know. I would be mortified if my kids asked a stranger for anything, much less food or candy. How can people get to be that age and not know that's incredibly rude as well as dangerous? That was a teachable moment. No, son, we don't take candy or anything from strangers. Turn around and stop bothering her. Hopefully the little brat doesn't get offered candy from a van next time. Demanding candy from a stranger? I just don't see how that could ever backfire. Good job, Opie, hopefully they learned something. Yelp is the worst thing to ever happen to customer service people. I work in a kid's salon, and occasionally we do ear piercing. Appointments are 20 minutes long. This huge family was 15 minutes late to their 20-minute appointment, and I had no wiggle room. I apologized profusely and offered a different appointment the next day. I stayed sincere and polite the entire time. Mom and her friends started yelling at me in front of their children and kept telling me that I just don't understand because grandma with dementia came out with them for the piercing, and why could I just not do it in 5 minutes? We're from other side of the country, you can't just do it for us? The whole family is here to watch. They left, and on the way out said, I can't wait to Yelp this. And proceeded to leave a Yelp review about how I botched their service, that they didn't get, and that I personally should be fired. She came back in twice, once to ask for my name and once to get my boss's business card. She legitimately also called my boss and tried to get me fired for not performing an ear piercing in a tiny amount of time for them. The way she was speaking to me, if the reception desk wasn't between us, she would have gotten in my face. I'm lucky and my shitty boss didn't care. This happened last week and luckily I've landed a new job, but the people who take their kids to specialty salons are exceptionally entitled and mean as hell. I don't get using Graham as a reason for doing it right then and there. She's not going to remember it, not trying to be mean, just honest opinion from dementia relative caregiver. It's the first shitty thing going on in her life that she thought of. No other reason. I wish there was a review system set up for businesses to rate customers. Would be so nice to look up a customer profile before performing a job and simply tell them, well, it appears that you are an asshole to everyone you deal with, so we are not dealing with you either. Wait, she said you botched her service, or didn't give her one? Because if she said you botched it like you messed up the piercing, that's libelous, and she can be sued to remove her post. Screenshot it so you don't lose it. If you get any pushback about it from your job, you can tell them it's a lie, and you shouldn't be getting reprimanded for a customer's lie. Conversely, I think the owner can respond to the message about it. How much value do people really place in Yelp nowadays? Feel like the word is largely out from both a business and customer perspective that their rankings are unreliable and are often heavily dependent on whether or not the business is paying for ads through them. Was talking about this last week with a group. Every good local restaurant that's constantly crowded was only around a 3.5, yet every overpriced tourist trap that's half empty even on weekends had a 4.5 to 5-star rating. Entitled customer demanded to waive the copay of their prescription. A few days ago, I had a young customer, maybe mid-late 20s or early 30s, came into the pharmacy for a singular medication. From the moment they stepped up to the register, they has a rude tone and cut off the pharmacy tech multiple times before the tech went to ring up their medication. The copay came up to $1 and the customer was bewildered. They demanded that the dollar to be waived and insisted that it could be waived. Apparently, their insurance company used to waive the dollar during the pandemic, but they stopped doing so since earlier this year. The customer insisted that they weren't made aware and that the dollar should be waived regardless. They were given a suggestion that if they really didn't have a dollar, to come back the following day to pay for it, and this made the customer feral. They began rudely demanding why the dollar couldn't be waived, as it is just a singular dollar, 100 cents. After back and forth between them and the manager, who tried to explain to the customer that there was really nothing they could do and the $1 was not a big deal, they demanded why the register couldn't be short a dollar and continued to get more agitated. The manager continued to stay firm and the customer kept asking why the dollar couldn't just be dropped and they get their prescription for free. Eventually, about 10 minutes later, she caved after realizing her demands to waive her copay weren't working, and she pulled out Apple Pay and gave the dollar. She said she would dispute the dollar and flag it was illegally charged while she paid. She snatched the medication out of the tech's hand and stormed away, and oh my, I wonder why some people feel this entitled? Here's one. Picked up a prescription and asked the tech how much it would be before she started to ring it up. She said 23, so I asked her to apply one of those discount prescription services. Told to go to another register to do that. The person at the next register asked me why I'd want to do that. The copay was 23 cents. Doh. Bowed my head in embarrassment. LOL. Not your fault, the tech should have been more clear. Those prescription saving programs are hella awesome though. I kind of get it, but when I get blindsided by something I just say okay and pay it, then go and ask the real person responsible why. Clearly a pharmacy employee isn't going to be able to do anything, and getting angry wastes everyone's time. If I was that customer, I would have paid it and called the insurance company and find out what's going on. Like, I have been there where everything is budgeted out and even a dollar can throw me for a loop. Not worth it to act like an asshole in public and alienate myself from the pharmacy staff over a dollar though. If I was used to medication being free and then having a copay, even as low as $1, I would probably ask if the pharmacy would run it through my insurance again. If it still came back with a copay, I'd just pay it, and if I really thought there was an error, contact my insurance company. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.